Hi, how you doing? Welcome to Coffee Chat with Angie. I'm Angie, and yes, I'm transgender, and yes, I have a very masculine voice, but hey, I'm just doing the best I can, just like everybody else. Oh boy, just like everybody else. Here we talk about eco-friendly ideas fighting against the shitstem of the bully dozer. Oh, how you doing? Oh man. Like has it not been super touching to see all the thousands and thousands of people, the tens of thousands of people that show up everywhere. I mean, like in Utah and Idaho and Montana. I don't know about you, I didn't see that coming by just like the 10,000s just sold out arenas, just like, I mean, there are millions of us, left wingers, and or it's not even about left and right anymore at this point. It could be anybody that just doesn't, is scared about what's happening. There is power in the people, of course. I mean, that's always, that's what we set ourselves up so that the people would have power when the people on top try to take over. That was one of the most fundamental things that we tried to accomplish in the original draft of our government, and so like that's gonna be cool when it goes from the tens of thousands to the millions, you know, showing up at a single protest. Can you imagine millions of people at a single protest? That'd be like incredible. What could you do? Like the movie Ants, right? Remember that? Where the ants realize, hey, why? Hello? There's like a gazillion of us. Uh, but remember that saying from Black History. I'm a fan of Black History. I hear tell there was a saying that that white men pardon me. Oh crap, I was going to clear my throat, but I couldn't figure out how to get to the pause button. What was I saying? I guess now I have to pause it. I don't know. It's one of the fun things about being old at my age is that when you're younger, those things bug you, but by the time you're my age, you're like, oh shit. You definitely do not always get to finish things you try to say. And if you're super bothered by it, whoa, you're setting yourself up for some not very fun times. But I'm not, like a big political person. My contribution, I'm trying to, help people more along the lines of, like in real life, just service, but like intellectually, just with more like theological issues, like does God exist and who is God and what's the right definition for God and things like that, things exactly like that. Because, and it's, like I've said many times before, it's because it took me for too long. A person shouldn't have to take that long. It took me like 10, 11 years really to get rid of that anxiety of trying to figure out what exactly I believed. Why do you even need to have beliefs? That's what you're thinking, some of you. Like I haven't heard it all before. Sin. That's what I want to talk about in this episode. Sin. I do not believe in sin. I do not believe sin exists. I believe the king, that the whole Bible thing, that I don't believe there's an imaginary man in the sky, and I don't believe there's an infallible book that's the word of this imaginary man in the sky. I don't believe in heaven, and I don't believe in hell. I believe life's a spiral, and these are the spiral times. Who we really are is in the now. So, what the kings did, and the priests, it was a king-priest team effort. So quick reference, you're like, oh, who are you to tell me, you know? I'm a big fan of Bible scholars, and I'm constantly learning more. In this case, just then I was quoting from the book Who Wrote the Bible by Richard Elliott Friedman. So like, yeah, I've been asked questions before that I can't answer in the comments, but you can ask me questions. If it's a good question, I appreciate a good question. You know, that's a good thing. And if it's a mean-spirited thing based on dipshittedness, then it's just like, you're just trying to upset me, and you don't even realize you're making a fool of yourself at the same time. Wow, that's super annoying. But anyway, the king told the priest that they better make one book, because the Jerusalem's power was in trouble around the time of King Hezekiah, and Jeremiah was the priest, and then later Ezra. Not all scholars agree with that, but it is common, and I just let that's more of a scholarly matter. I don't believe the Bible. I just believe the Bible's a book of fables, probably mostly, but based on a handful of true things. But they're mythologies is what they really are, as far as what their value is. But mythology has value, and that this is an example of that, you know, because the book that was produced we're talking about the Bible, and the Bible's a very beautiful book. I spent my life studying it, and I love my Bible. See? I didn't even have to get out of my chair. It's right here if I wanted to read my Bible. Those aren't all my books. You're like, well, that's because that's where you keep your books. No. These ones are just, I'm not sure. You don't want to hear about it. I'm not sure what, I don't know. It would take, you don't want to know. But so the Jeremiah the priest took, and this was I'm older than I look. All right, gee, this is a book I read way back in 1989, 1990. I don't know. Not sure. It would have had to be, it was my mom's book originally, believe it or not. She's Mormon. She was in a Bible study class that wasn't a Mormon Bible study class when we lived in California. And they had a book, and she gave it to me. Would you be interested in this? And I said, yeah. And I read it, and I was like, oh, hey, that's pretty cool, actually. Bible school scholars are cool. So that's why that the Bible, and I've mentioned it before, a lot. You'd be able to figure it out if you looked around in my YouTube channel. But they took the scrolls and put them together. In some cases, there was one would say one thing and the other would say the other thing. It would always be the case that it would be something that's being said to a certain people at a certain time from a certain perspective, you know. And so trying to combine such things is a little bit crazy, but Jeremiah did. We're very critical of it, and we should be, but yeah, we don't always, sometimes, well, it's inspired, no, it's bullshit, it's inspired, no, it's bullshit, is kind of our argument nowadays. But I would raise my hand and say, you guys, it's artistic. Art doesn't have to be, it can be fiction or non-fiction or a combination therein. So anyway, the Bible is a beautiful book, but it is a bunch of bullshit too, and it is always important to remember that even when it's not based on reality, it's based on reality in the sense that that's what people believed, and that's part of why things are the way they are. Not to mention, if reincarnation's true, it's things that you probably super duper believed in past lives, and who knows how in your subconscious that might be still kind of leaking over or whatever, you know. You don't always know. You know, it's the roots of the tree. It's where you came from. A tree comes from a seed, of course. So sin, they each had their interests, is the point. The king has his interests. What would a king want out of a deal like that? And what would a priest want out of a deal like that? Seriously, just ask yourself those questions, and then I can be done with this video. You'll just figure it out yourself. It's those things. It's those things. So sin was invented so that the king could, and the priest could, their leadership roles could be powerful in the right way. And it's a valid argument that that's what we needed at the time in our evolution as a species, which is fine, But right now things are really different, and it's more important, I think, to listen to Bible scholars and learn what the things mean and where we came from and what that means, so that you can make an accurate. Why would you listen to your grandparents? Things are really different. We've learned a lot. You listen to them, but that's the same thing as listening to your great-grandparents, right? Or your great-great-grandparents. Like, where does it start and end, So it is the same thing, and that's that's what I'm saying. I'm the one that's saying that it still has a value. Don't throw the baby out with the bathwater, Here's an example. If you don't have to bother with the Bible because it never, you didn't come from that kind of a family background or something. I just bought these. So I bought 2 copies. This book might work better than the Bible. This is a really good book. You guys ever read this book? This is a book. Now this is a book. So is the Bread and Butter, the Bread and Butter Battle by Dr. Seuss. It's also really good, and it's really relevant. Those two, between the Lorax and the Bread and Butter, by Dr. Seuss, by those 2 stories, pretty much, you're good to go. That's it. You could. That's the New and Old Testament. This would be the Old Testament. I don't know. I'd have to look it up. Which one's the older story? You'd have to look it up. Let's not make things up. Let's not do that. We should learn our lesson and keep things the way that they actually are. The way Dr. Seuss actually said it. He said, "On the end of a rope, he lets down a tin pail." See? A tin pail. And you have to toss in 15 cents and a nail. And the shell of a great-great-great-grandfather Snell. Okay? See? We could have just read this. A great-great-great. How many was that even? It's great. God is great. The Lorax. It's every bit as true. It's a wonderful, wonderful thing. Wonderful thing. Nope. We don't need to be saved from our sins. And Jesus did not die on the cross so that we might be saved from our sins. And this I say on the 3rd day of unleavened bread. Who God is within. The temple could be destroyed and has been destroyed as the body, past lives. But the spiral times is eternal. There, I had the movie. I thought I was going to end the video there, but I needed to say something. By the way, if you're wondering who do you think God is then, Angie? Look at my playlist about the Kabbalah on my front page. So basically, the apocalypse genre, what that was all about. The apocalypse genre, according to these Bible scholars these days, is it's a failed prophecy over and over again for thousands of years, and we need to stop letting it dictate what we do. Are you kidding me? You still think that Jesus is coming? What the hell, you guys? Come on, quit goofing around. No sympathy for the devil. The Rolling Stones, great song. Yeah, he's right. All along the devil was you and I. Us and us. Okay, you have just listened to another video by The Spiral Times Presents. Thank you.